In a meticulously coordinated three-wave assault, the United States and Israel exploited months of intelligence gathering to deliver a devastating strike that obliterated Iran's top leadership, and it happened in a single strike on a single morning. The operation not only decimated the Islamic Republic's military high command, but it also crossed an unprecedented threshold: the targeted killing of a sitting head of state. Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, the supreme leader of Iran, who ruled with an iron fist for 37 long years, was killed in one precision strike. What unfolded was not merely an attack, but it was a calculated strategic ambush. One that was designed to strike early, strike decisively, and leave no opportunity for the enemy to recover. So, how was Operation Epic Fury planned and executed? I dig a little deeper. On Saturday morning, Iran's highest military and intelligence officials gathered in broad daylight above the ground at their last known address, the office of the country's National Security Council, for a high-level meeting. That gathering proved to be the final blow to Iran's top leadership, even as much of the world was expecting America and Israel to attack. Even the supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, presumed to be moving from one secret underground bunker to another, was also above the ground in that very same building. It is almost unbelievable how American and Israeli intelligence officials knew where all of these leaders would be inside one building, and they got it down to the exact time and location. At 9:40 a.m. local time on Saturday morning, that's when precise strikes were unleashed by Israeli fighter jets. The two countries, America and Israel, exploited this piece of intelligence that was collected from Iran to wage a three-pronged attack that decimated Iran's high command. Crucially, in killing Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, Israel and America crossed a new Rubicon, killing the head of state of a sovereign country. Shortly before the United States and Israel were all set to launch this attack on Iran, the CIA had zeroed in on the exact location of the most important target, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, the supreme leader of Iran. The CIA, in fact, had been tracking Ayatollah Khamenei for months now. They'd been gaining more confidence about his precise locations, his patterns of movement. They had specially stepped up the surveillance after last year's 12-day war between Israel and Iran. Then the agency learned that there was this meeting of top Iranian officials that would take place Saturday morning at a leadership compound right in the heart of Tehran. Most critically, the CIA also learned that the supreme leader would be in that very same building at that same meeting. The United States then passed on that information to Israel, who decided to adjust the timing of their attack. In part, they wanted to take advantage of this new intelligence. America passed on the sensitive piece of intelligence to Israel, and then the Israelis struck through their F-15 jets. By midday Sunday, Israeli military officials said that air supremacy in the skies over Iran had been achieved and that their jets were flying freely over Tehran. Iran right now is totally exposed to airstrikes from Israel and America. There's almost total freedom of maneuver for American and Israeli fighter jets. But Saturday's attack depended on multiple factors, multiple variables. Chief among them was the element of surprise. In the 12-day war last June, after a decision was made not to attempt to kill Khamenei during the initial strike, he disappeared, and an opportunity to kill him did not arise again. And for that very reason, those who were planning Saturday's strike calculated that any attempt to kill a senior Iranian official would have to be made in the first round itself. They entered with a fatal body blow. Israel had determined that the gathering would include top Iranian defense officials, including Mohammad Pakpour, who is the commander of the IRGC, Aziz Nazarzadeh, the Minister of Defense, Admiral Ali Shamkhani, the head of the Military Council, and an entire array of top military leaders of Iran. The entire top military and political leadership of Iran had been wiped out in a single strike. Ahead of Saturday's strike, the military had planned for months, looking for an opportunity in which military intelligence would learn in advance where the Iranian top officials would be in the same place at the same time. Attacking in the morning hours rather than at night, when Israel had launched prior campaigns against Iran, added an element of tactical surprise. A second wave of attacks immediately followed the Saturday morning strike on Iran's leadership. The second wave focused on Iran's surface-to-air missile batteries. A key Israeli armament that was used in the Saturday morning attacks, which also aided in the element of surprise, was a ballistic missile capable of being launched by F-15 fighter jets from far, far away. They were far away from the range of Iran's air defense batteries. This missile was originally developed as a practice target missile for an Israeli anti-ballistic missile system known as the Arrow. But this new version, known as the Black Sparrow, allows for these strikes on distant targets deep within Iranian territory. The critical difference is that the Black Sparrow doesn't require the launch platform, in this case the Israeli F-15 jet, to come within range of Iran's surface-to-air missile batteries. Israel first used such a missile, a Black Sparrow, in response to an Iranian attack in 2024. Later, these missiles were also used to paralyze Iran's surface-to-air batteries during Israeli attacks both in November of 2024 and then again in the 12-day war that happened in June of last year. During the third wave of Israel's air offensive this weekend, the military deployed what it called the largest armada in history, and that included about 200 fighter planes. Unlike previous operations in which aircraft were sent in small waves and small batches, the Israeli Air Force mounted what it called a strategic ambush. In effect, Israel was bringing the might of its entire air force to western and central Iran. The pilots had one singular mission: destroy as much Iranian missiles as possible and as fast as possible. Strike early, strike hard, numb the enemy without any time or space to respond. The Americans, who joined in the hunt about half an hour later after Israel first struck Iran's leadership, focused on targets in eastern Iran. That's an area that is far away from Israel but relatively close to American bases and to forces. Israel took the country's western half, America took the eastern half. Together, in a matter of just 12 hours, they brought Iran down to its knees with its entire top leadership wiped out. US forces also attacked the Iranian fleet out in the Persian Gulf. Trump said that America had destroyed at least 9 Iranian naval ships, and they will soon be floating in the bottom of the sea, he said. With Iran's air defenses so badly damaged, Israel was free to attack targets and symbols of the government right in the heart of Tehran. The Israeli military said it had attacked dozens of military command centers, including the headquarters of the IRGC, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. But the biggest catch was that of Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, a man who had chanted death to America and death to Israel for the last 40 years. Ironically, his own death came at the hands of those two very nations. I want to go across to Mr. Amichai Chikli. He's Israel's Minister for Diaspora Affairs. Let me start with, the objective of this operation. Israel and the United States launched this operation back on Saturday. It's been going on for the last 48 hours. President Trump said the main objective was regime change. Today, the Ayatollah, the Supreme Leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, is dead. What is the further purpose of this operation? What are Israel's goals vis-a-vis this operation? What really is the end game here?
Yeah, so we have two main goals in this operation. One is to remove existential threats such as the ballistic missiles that, despite the fact that they were attacked, the factories of these missiles were attacked in the previous operation. Now, Iran managed to renovate it and rebuild many of these factories. So one mission is to remove those ballistic missiles and attack these infrastructures. The second one is to create the conditions for the Iranian people to regain their freedom. We have seen in recent months a brutal massacre of tens of thousands of innocent Iranian people who went to protest against this vicious regime. And the President of the United States, Donald Trump, and Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, said specifically to these protests that we are with them and we are going to help them. Yes, we cannot and we don't have the ambitions to send boots on the ground and to, conquer Tehran. It's not going to happen. But we do said that we're going to help the protesters and to attack the Iranian Revolutionary Guards headquarters, their leaders, the Basij bases, and to create the conditions for the Iranian people to continue the job and remove this vicious regime.
But Mr. Minister, why hasn't that happened so far? The Iranian people came out and protested in December and in January. You saw what happened. The state crushed them. And now, even after the killing of Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, many more Iranians have come out mourning and, cursing Israel, cursing America than any who have come out and celebrated the killing of Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. Why have the Iranian people not rallied around and wanted to take back their government, wanted to take back their country as President Trump goaded them to?
That's not the stage to go out. This is the time for the military effort to take actions for the next couple of weeks. The time for the people of Iran will be after this offensive and not now.
But Iran, in response, is targeting not just Israel and America, but it is also targeting the Gulf Arab countries like the UAE, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, Oman. And these countries, which so far had been guaranteed their security by the American security umbrella, that is coming apart. Are you not worried about them putting pressure on America and also on you to wrap this up quickly?
Look, that's what President Trump said. I think so myself. The goals are limited. It's to hit hard the Iranian Revolutionary Guards, the Basij, remove existential threats, create the conditions for the Iranian people to regain their freedom, as I said. And by the way, when you take a look at Iran, that is responding so aggressively against the Gulf states such as UAE, Kuwait, Bahrain, that were not involved in the attacks and sending missiles into these states, you can see the aggression of this regime, the violence of this regime. Also here in Israel, yesterday, we have suffered heavy casualties from a ballistic missiles who hit directly the city of Bet Shemesh with 9 casualties. And by the way, it's not the first time. During the war, there were many cases in which Iran fired ballistic missiles to the heart of Israeli cities, hitting hospitals, etc. Also, we need to take to consideration, and I'm not sure that the people in India are well aware of the linkage in between Iran and Hamas and the October 7 massacre. The linkage between Iran and Hezbollah is more famous, but this is also one thing that we need to understand. On October 8, Hezbollah is joining the war that was led by Hamas on October 8, 2023. These entire ecosystems of terror organizations in Gaza, Judea and Samaria, in Lebanon with Hezbollah. I didn't mention the Islamic Jihad. I didn't mention the Houthis in Yemen. I didn't mention the drugs cartels of Hezbollah in Latin America.
Okay.
So this is an empire of evil, an empire of terror that is butchering first and foremost its own citizen, but also spreading the revolution. Everyone who learned about the Revolutionary Guards know their philosophy. The philosophy is, how do we take the revolution outside of the borders of Iran to the entire region, to the entire world? Take a look at the symbol of the Revolutionary Guard with the globe, the same symbol of Hezbollah with different colors. So we are in a fight against a force of evil that has caused tremendous disasters and brought death and destruction all across the Middle East. And, it's not just about Israel. Take a look at the war in Syria. Who was leading the massacre of Syrians? It was Hezbollah and Assad, all together, all combined against the Sunnis in Syria. So I think that the war that we are fighting now is not just for the future of the children of Israel. It is also for the future of the children in Lebanon, in Yemen, in the entire region.
But what is the end goal here, Mr. Minister? Because you've already got the political objective, which is the killing of Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, the supreme leader of Iran. President Trump does not have propensity for long-drawn wars that America gets entangled in. Uh, at what point does this stop? You've already seen markets fall in a big way. Oil prices are rising in a big way. At some point, this has got to stop.
Look, I'm not worried. I think that what we can see now is the meaning of the Iranian threat to the region. You can see it in your own eyes. Can you imagine a nuclear Iran? How would a war against Iran with nuclear weapons will look like? So weakening Iran, dismantling its capabilities, weakening its leadership, and doing everything we can in order to allow the Iranian people to reclaim and regain their freedom. I think that we are on the right course, and this is a very, very important operation. And to all those who are saying that we have initiated this war, and this is like our aggression from the side of Israel, let's not forget, October 7th is part of an Iranian strategy. October 8th with Hezbollah, part of an Iranian strategy. Ballistic missiles were sent into the heart of our cities, were after the assassination of the head of Hamas, Ismail Haniyeh, and not
Okay.
the other way around.
Okay. Mr. Amichai Chikli, the Minister for Diaspora Affairs, thank you very much for joining us here on CNN News 18.